Do you know what's really, really crazy to me is that, so sometimes I listen to that podcast that they do. I'm always forget the name of that one.
Yeah.
And they said they've been working on this show for 2 years.
What? Yeah. Yes. You know how you know? Because the first episode is them buying a house, and they have clearly been living together for longer than a day or whatever.
I will be judging every single thing in their house so thoroughly.
Me too.
This is going to be an absolute shit show, and I am so excited for this.
Like, you think that these guys get paid well, considering like in the pyramid of payroll of WWE, or do you think they're somewhere closer to the middle, bottom, or top of getting paid?
They'd be in the, well, they've got to be like middle ground. Well, Mella would be middle ground. I don't know about Graves. He would be lower ground, wouldn't he, being a commentator? I don't know. Joel, you're probably better at answering that than I am.
I mean, I got to assume that they do okay, financially speaking. They're definitely not top level superstars of superstars, but like they're pretty okay.
They don't have like Stone Cold Steve Austin Ranch money.
No, Jesus, no. God, no. But like they're doing okay, and yeah,
Sure.
it's gonna be very entertaining. This show is just so strange.
I'm so
And
excited.
it's all predicated around sex. Like that's like the entire show, right? It's like, let's watch them not have sex, but also allude to sex for the entire time.
What? That's like the worst bit of any. Like, who wants to just watch?
Like, why not just do a sex tape? Just do a sex tape.
Just make an OnlyFans. Let us watch. What the hell?
Well,
and even with OnlyFans, like tons of wrestlers that we know have OnlyFans, but just them like in bikinis, like it's the same stuff they'd put anywhere else.
Well, remember, WWE folk can't do an OnlyFans unless
Is that for everyone?
Yeah.
There's no exceptions, like not one single person.
There have been no exceptions, especially with the OnlyFans. The only exception, the only exception when it comes to streaming is up, down, down, and that's still
and
like
WWE. Page is allowed to stream.
Yeah, basically, if you're active and you're on TV, you cannot do any of the third-party stuff. If you do Cameo, it's WWE gets a cut. They set up the Cameo. They do like a business relationship with Cameo themselves. They don't have that sort of relationship with Twitch or OnlyFans. They're never going to have that relationship with OnlyFans because guess what? It is a publicly traded, family-friendly company. So the look would be bad for WWE.
There's so much family-friendly content on OnlyFans, Joel.
I mean, there actually is, and there is like there are cooking and like regular enthusiasts of anything on there. It's not just
there's like boring marketing newsletters and stuff on there. It's like anything,
It's not fully about sex work on OnlyFans, but because the way that what happened, it was Patreon stopped allowing it, and Tumblr
first Tumblr just stopped like. Tumblr saying no to porn was like the beginning of the end, in my opinion.
Yes. And then people started flocking to OnlyFans because they didn't have that sort of, they didn't have those sets of rules in place. So it became very popular for adult content. And then at one point, I remember they talked about getting rid of it because OnlyFans talked about going public. And then they kind of reneged on it because they saw a lot of people were upset about the idea of doing it. Mostly the creators, not just the subscribers.
Well, I wonder what that would do to your earnings too, because like I know people that have shown their receipts, and I mean they do take a sizable amount of money from you. And if you don't have, a big following, if you're not like a porn star or a public figure or like big on Twitter, like you're roughing it, especially after they take that cut.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah,
I think the cut is 30%. I could be wrong.
I think you're right.
If there's anyone who knows better or wants
but there's other fees too. Like it's not just like 30, that's it. I think there's like processing fees and like all types of other things that go into it as well.
Yeah.
Because I've looked into it and I was like, maybe it's just better to like post it myself or like do it on my own website and like self-host, right?
Yeah, then a lot of people will do that as well because like you said, if you don't have that large fan base and you don't have a lot of people doing it, then like subscribing to your platform, then it's not necessarily financially liable.
Yeah, exactly. Especially if you only have like, 100 or less like loyal fans or whatever. That's like you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot in a way.
Yeah. And it's funny, like Dan saying, I remember when they teased it, people were like, "Are you guys gonna release a sex tape?" Because the promo photo was like them on top, like it was like Carmella on top of Corey,
like
and
riding
people,
him. Yeah.
yeah, and people were like,
Yeah.
"Is this an OnlyFans?" And then when they announced the show, people were just like, "Should have been an OnlyFans." And then the promo is like, it's so sexualized. The whole reason we started doing this was because the three of us were just like, we got it. This is so funny.
Aghast. Yeah.
We
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
we
Yeah.
have to.
We were just like, this is so horny. Let's talk about this.
One of my
So-
only goals of this year is to make horny jail trend on Twitter. So we'll see what happens.
I'm sure it has. If it hasn't by now,
Oh,
because
for
of you,
sure.
it has from others. You want to be the catalyst for that.
It's not me, but maybe one day it can be me.
So they released 2 episodes today. One is 11 minutes, one is 9 minutes. We'll watch them both. And then maybe after that, the three of us will sit and we'll talk about both episodes together. And that will also make it easier for me, because then after this, what I'll do is I'll clip all the talky talk and I'll put it up on Overbooked. And by the way, if you're watching now, at 5 o'clock on Overbooked, that's 50 minutes from now, Lillie and I are going to talk about actual wrestling on Grappy Hour and have a drink. And let's go.
Sex is kind of wrestling, I guess. So
Sex is wrestling, as long as you're safe. And as long as both parties are, or all parties are.
I think every person has taken some bumps accidentally or purposefully during adult activity between two consenting adults.
I think you
Good
have a good
Lord.
point. All right. Are you guys ready for episode number 1? So we have 2 episodes in the can. We can talk about those. And then I think the next 3 episodes release. Josh, you sent it around. It's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, right? So maybe we'll come back on Friday and talk about the final 3. But for now, let's talk about those opening 2 shit shows. And if you're in the chat and you got comments, go ahead. Some of them I will bring up on the screen. So let's do you guys want to start with the sex toys?
Yes. Now that it's
Okay.
fresh in our minds, for sure.
Yeah. So Sam Adonis takes a box, and he's taken all these boxes before, and they're all not labeled, but he takes the one box that's labeled with pink tape that says random stuff, as if, oh, I don't know, maybe that's the one you're supposed to drop. And lo and behold, he drops it. And what's in there? Just a whole bunch of sex
dills.
toys. A bunch of
Yeah.
dildos.
It's so lazy,
And-
like even for
yeah.
reality TV. Like I watch Housewives religiously, and they're so good at crafting like situations. Like they set things up, and I mean, I've never seen like no offense to either of them, but they're just so vanilla and boring. And I'm just like, is this like actually what you're like? Because if it is, I fear for you.
Guys, I am a person that loves reality TV as well. My first reality love was Jersey Shore. So like you're starting pretty high with Jersey Shore. And like, okay, there's situations in that show where you're like, yeah, all right. But at least they're pretty good at like, you know, juggling them and making them look as natural as possible. This is just
Exactly.
like, let's just drop a box of sex toys on the ground. We'll just happen to have it be Corey's brother, and then they can argue because there's a cheese grater also in there.
It's very planted, and like there are
Bitch.
people who are going to be like, this is high entertainment, oh my god, they're so quirky. But no, even the house thing. So they go around, they look at all these houses, and they finally buy the house of their dreams. And the three of us were immediately like, why are they wearing the exact same clothes they wore in the first episode when they were buying the house? And now they have the house and they have the same clothes on, but in between they've made a change. And they've seen the house a second time with different clothes on. So what the hell happened?
Like, who is this for? Like, who
Corey
is this
had
show
different-
for?
Corey had different facial hair in between the 2 scenes.
Yes, he did.
He glued something on.
It just made no sense. The entire show is the 2 of them. I said it at the top of this whole live thing. I said, this isn't about Matt and Leah. It's not about the real life people. It's about what if Corey Graves and Carmella got together and they lived together and they were cohabitating and getting married and they had a podcast. It's no longer Matt and Leah. It's what if Corey and Carmella get together. And that is awkward because those two characters have never really interacted.
And
So
you
it
can
doesn't really make
tell.
sense.
And you
Yeah.
can tell. And like I am a casual at WWE, so I don't know too much context with Corey and Carmella, but it seems that like they're so detached from each other. And I don't know if that has something to do with like them in ring and on camera, like on Raw or any other shows, but it's almost like uncanny valley. It's very strange. And yeah, like nothing has been natural. Nothing has, it just seems like it's like made by AI or something.
It's weird because I obviously you're a casual WWE person, Lily, but me and Joel both watch WWE pretty much we don't really miss too much. Well, you watch more than I do, Joel, but Mella and Graves, I don't think have ever in their lives, in their WWE lives, have ever interacted on camera as like those two characters. It's like they're playing their characters on a show that's not meant to be their characters, but is also still their characters. Like they're not Matt and Leah. They are literally Corey and Carmella, who you see on TV, but it's meant to be a version of them that you don't see on Raw. So therefore, they're meant to be in. I know that sounds confusing, but
No, I get it, and it's so
so weird.
Yeah.
They've never interacted. Lily, for someone who doesn't watch WWE that often, I can pretty much guarantee they've never interacted on television. Maybe like briefly, like when he's on commentary, and she's like, "Look at me, Graves, I'm so hot." Because her shtick in WWE at the moment is she's the most beautiful woman in WWE. That's her gimmick. So like, I guess like sometimes she'll go over to the commentary table and be like, "Tell me I'm beautiful." Like,
yeah, I've seen her like bend over and be like, "Hey, what's up?" Or whatever.
Yeah. So I'm sure they've interacted there, but like they've never. It's like subtle. It's not like storyline. Like he's gonna go over there and grab her by her hand and like whatever it may be. So the fuck.
And if this is a play, sorry.
No, go ahead.
If this is a play to kind of do something similar to Rose to the Top too, then like it just is coming out of absolutely nowhere, and doing this in a full like TV format for like usually 30 to 41 minutes would be torturous to get.
It would be hell.
It
would be
out of all people in WWE, by the way, out of all of the couples that they have, this is probably the last two I would choose. Like, why not have like Naomi and Jimmy Uso? They're fun time. They were great on Total Divas.
And that's probably why they're not doing it, because they've already been on TV on like a WWE.
But Mella has.
Yeah, but
and so was Graves. Yeah, they were in the last season in Total Divas. They were together.
No one watched.
True. Ronda Rousey was on that season. It was bad.
But the point I want to make is like, so they knew that they were going to do this show. It's been in development, yet, and we said like at least since the last summer. So in that entire time frame, they could have done something in WWE to have those two characters interact and at least build a little bit of something, or at least some sort of realness. It was
like it wouldn't
really strange.
It wouldn't be that complicated to write something into one of the millions of shows that have happened like for the past year or two, and it doesn't need to be anything complicated, right? It could be just like a simple like she kisses him backstage, or like anything just so you know that like
even when she's walking to the ring, she goes over to the commentary table, they catch it on camera, she kisses him. They don't even really have to acknowledge it. We see it, and then we can go, wait, what's going on here? And then at least there's some intrigue into why we would want to spend our time watching this show. I mean, listen, I can think of like at least 10 couples in WWE that I go, yeah, I'd probably watch those two. They've interacted before, but these two, I'm just like, bitch, thank you.
So they sold this entire show on the idea of their sex life. Literally, like the promotional material, the tease that they had was them straddling each other and people asking about an OnlyFans, and then it turned out to be the show. This entire show, the house hunting, was all about, hey, can we have sex in the shower? Can we have sex on the kitchen counter? But meanwhile, like the rest of it is so tame that it's like this weird bait and switch, because you knew in the back of your head, like you can't go that heavy with it and get away with the horny time. Like there's something in there that has to change, right?
And there's it's like a house renovation show with like little like smidges of horniness. It's like,
I don't think they're going to go that far with it, because I think the next episodes are going to be like about training, and then they're going to start doing stuff like, oh, we have alone time, let's get in the shower, and like stuff you saw in the horny promos. But the horny promos are going to be like
new house, new humping, like they're gonna. But it's weird. It's like a YouTube show, like on WWE's YouTube of all things, like that WWE never freaking use. They post like raw clips and backstage.com exclusive, whatever you want to call them. Like WWE's YouTube show, like a channel, is so weird to put this on. You're not putting it on Peacock, which says something about this show if it's not going on their like network. You would think like, oh, we have a network or whatever you want, a Peacock, whatever you want to call it.
Or a web exclusive or something.
It's so odd the way that it's been. And like, yo, what the hell? We all said this at the start. I know Lily had an issue with this. 11 minutes for an episode of a reality show is not an episode. It's not.
No.
That doesn't. What reality show have you ever watched? You said you watch a lot of reality TV. Have you watched ever that's less than 41 minutes? Huge for the most part.
Doesn't exist. 41 is like the standard for reality.
Yeah, that's most shows it's 22 minutes and then 40, 41, 44 if you're an hour long, because you got to do the commercial breaks, right?
Yeah, and that's usually what it is for reality TV. Most reality shows are hour-long shows. So but 11 minutes, not even a 20-minute episode. I mean, I don't know if I could watch a whole episode for 20 minutes, to be completely honest with you. I think I'd tear my eyes out, but
yeah,
it'd be good if the military should use it as a form of torture, possibly, or police.
Probably.
Yeah.
We should sell it to the Ukrainians. Anyway, I think the one thing that we have to take a look at too is like, if you want to talk about YouTube versus putting it on TV, no, I don't think they could even fill a 22-minute show. I don't.
No,
Because
no.
they did 11, but they had to like really
Stretch
look and
it.
dig for shit. Yeah. Meanwhile,
And this is
like,
what you're kicking it off with too. So this is like the good, you know what I
the
mean?
first literal scene was them laying in bed going, "Do you suck your own dick?"
because again, that's what they're looking for.
So it's like every grinder date I've ever been on.
Grinder date. That's like a message. That's like.
Well, true. That's like an opening line. You suck your own dick. Can I come over? You're like, no, thank you.
Do you host?
and shout out to the Rad Dad. The Rad Dad's like, wait, this is a real thing? I've never even heard of it. And I was like, oh, it dropped today. And the reply was it promoted on Raw and SmackDown? It was promoted like heavily on Raw and
multiple
SmackDown.
times, especially on SmackDown. There was multiple ads for this show, and they're not even on SmackDown. They're on Raw. So
yeah. Exactly. And like, and like Rad Dad saying he doesn't really watch the WWE product. And I get that. And again, like they're looking for horny teenagers, and they'll get it with this promotion. They will.
They're too busy watching Euphoria, not this show. Okay.
Well, that's what they're hoping is now that Euphoria is done, they're going to start crossing over to.
You're gonna need to do better than that, Vince. You're gonna need to do better than that.
Vince is probably sitting there like, "Oh, the kids will love this. They're talking about sex."
So I guess the question is like, do you think they're going to try and pitch this as a backdoor pilot for USA?
Backdoor.
Hey.
I don't think it'll work. I mean, there's been some terrible reality shows. Like, most of them are trash, but this is like not good trash. This is almost to the point where you're like,
it's like secondhand embarrassment. Yeah.
I'm honestly just like, yikes. This isn't good for it. I've always been a person that's kind of like championed Carmella, but it makes me kind of not like them and her and him, and I'm just like, oh, that's not good.
That's not nice. Yeah.
And no offense, like I just don't like her and him on this show. Like, I have no problem with them outside of this show, but like, oh god,
feels like they need to have an episode, and we'll see in the next few days. They need to have an episode that makes them more relatable, or at least more likable.
Because
or have any chemistry. Like, they could be siblings for all I know.
Like, I need to see something.
Cartier is saying like they clearly passed, thus they're on YouTube, and it's true. Like, it's probable that they tried to shop it, and whoever they were looking at said no. Maybe it was Peacock, and Peacock was like, absolutely, move along. But regardless, they might try to sell again because they're going to get the views, but they're probably not going to see reviews like these because they don't have to look at reviews like these. They just need to see how many people tuned in and what the results were like.
Views are everything.
Hamlet's asking, YouTube. How does this Corey and Carmella compare to Roads to the Top?
This makes Roads to the Top look like masterpiece television.
Is Roads to the Top really bad? I never watched it. It's
really bad. There's actually interesting.
It's not available here, so.
There's some interesting kind of backstage stuff that you can see, kind of what goes on backstage at AEW. But it's also super cringe. But there's a lot more like chemistry, and like Brandy actually is quite funny on camera. Okay. Like, there are some redeemable aspects of it, but like Rose to the Top was also impossible to watch. Dumpster fire, yeah, that's a good way of putting it. And probably one of the reasons why things did not go too well for that partnership, in my opinion.
They tried to make Brandy and Cody seem more not just relatable, but also down to earth.
Yeah,
and it didn't really work. They didn't seem as like. They didn't seem like those things. They just kind of felt like they were aloof and going in their own worlds. And as a result, the show just kind of became more of a laughingstock than anything else. A good WWE reality TV show is Miz and Maurice, because they take
Miz and Mrs.
seriously.
So like that
Miz and Mrs.
show is Miz and Mrs. is genuinely like like genuinely, I mean this from my heart, a great reality show. Like they're
Okay,
really,
I need to check this out.
it's better than Total Divas in the sense of like good reality television. You would love Maurice's mum, Marjo. She is like hilarious. She's like this older French woman and she's freaking hilarious. But there's 3 seasons of that, I think, Joel. There's a healthy amount of that for you to binge on, and there's like
it's still cold in Canada, so I'm gonna be watching that.
There's at least 20 episodes in the can, like for you to watch, and they're like good sized episodes, and it's a genuinely good show. Like Total Divas is a great reality show. It's garbage television like most reality, and it's great. Total Bella's great as well. It's all just good.
Oh, Total Bella's is so
so good. It's just so good. But yeah, this is like, it's like if Total Bellas took a dump and then that dump took a dump. You have this.
It's like a human centipede dump on. Yeah.
This is it. Yeah. Ms. and Mrs. is better, I think, because those guys are all self-aware. And that is a huge missing component when we're talking about Rose to the Top, when we're talking about Corey Carmella. Miz is fine laughing at himself. And it's true that any good actor, or at least anyone who has like half a brain, is fine to just like do the show and have a good time and not take it seriously. Because guess what? Reality TV is not serious or reality. You're taking ridiculous situations and you're just blowing them up to 100. And that's what this Corey and Carmella show is supposed to be. But they didn't, because all they did was take, my championship belts in this shadow box that cost me $20 at Walmart. You broke the glass. This glass is irreplaceable. The glass is easily replaceable and you make enough money to do it. Like,
You're house shopping. You're house shopping, and you're like, oh no, like
something broke in our move. Oh my god, that never happens.
It's literally like she could literally just go open her phone and go, oh, which person? Okay, I'll just order this piece of glass
guy number 3.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'll just do that. We're not saying that she's a billionaire, but also she's not, scrumping at the bit to pay her rent. Like she knows what she's doing.
They're not cash poor as a result of their like $500,000 Pittsburgh house purchase.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're just, I broke this glass, don't know how I pay for it. Oh, I better just go and do my job where I'm going on television. Like I think I'm gonna be fine.
Yeah, stuff like that just takes away from it. And again, they could have leaned into like the stupid extreme horny stuff, and we would have sat here laughing and eating it up and being like, they're so silly.
If they did a segment where they went to a sex toy shop and just like went shopping for toys together, that would have been hilarious. Even if they were awkward, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'd watch that in a heartbeat. Give me that episode. When's that episode drop?
Probably Friday, when everyone's so pent up from the rest of the week.
What a week.
We're going to come back here on Friday and we're going to watch the last few episodes. Y'all watching this can do whatever you want, but we're going to come back. We're going to watch the 3 episodes and then we're going to talk about it, and then we'll toss it up on Overbooked. We're going to do that with this episode. This one's a short one just because Lily and I have to run over to youtube.com/Fightful Overbooked.
I have to emotionally recover quickly.
Yeah, we got to get a drink and talk about real wrestling. And we're going to talk about a whole whack of stuff. GCW. I'm sure we're going to talk about Lily's experience training to wrestle. I want to talk about that with her. And we got a whole bunch of other stuff. youtube.com/Fightful Overbooked. That's going to be at the top of the hour. Josh, where can people find you on the internet and what you do on the channels?
You can find me at @JoshRobertson_00 pretty much across the board. Joel knows what I'm about to say. I'm a pretty damn good time. You can catch me on like So Bad It's Good. It's pretty damn funny in my opinion, but that's just me. I won't sit here and stroke my own ego, but you can watch that whenever it kind of drops on different days sometimes. But we just surprise you guys. Joel knows more about that than I do. I can't talk to that. But
that's exactly what it is.
Anywhere. I do stuff with Love Wrestling. I do stuff over here on Twitch. If you want to follow me here on Twitch, go for it. That's pretty much it.
Lily, tell them what you do, tell them where to find you, and then we get out of here.
You can find me down there at Lillie Z on Twitter. I do some streams with Joel, obviously. Grappy Hour every Monday at 5 or whenever we feel like it. I also run my own website, or I live in a gym, and maybe I'll be wrestling soon.
Oh my God, I have to bring this up. Sam Adonis takes Carmella to a sex shop to buy toys because Corey's busy. That's the segment. That's the Friday show. That's the tension I need. All right.
I'm going with Corey's brother.
Exactly. I am at Joel Pearl, JOELPEARL. We'll be back Friday. We're going to review the rest of this godforsaken show. Go over to
Stay
YouTube.com.
horny.
Yes, stay horny. Fightful.com. Sorry, FightfulOverbooked.com. That's where we're going right now for Grappy Hour. Ladies and gentlemen, friends beyond the binary. We'll see you in the next one. Cheers.